Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well today. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Rena girl, thank you. No problem. No worries. Don't worry about it. Ginger, thank you. I always say Rena girl, but I know it's Rena Gale. I guess I just made up my own little name for you. Sailor Moon, hello. Lynn, hello. Brian, haven't seen you in a while. Cheryl and April and Angelina. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and also to those in the bushes. We know you're there. We know you're there. Donna, Lori. I hope everyone's doing well today. Saturday. I don't know if my husband said we're getting a storm tonight or tomorrow, but we had we had some snow yesterday and some very high winds. Power was flickering off and on, off and on, off and on. It was to the point where it was kicking out the microwave and the stove, so I knew it would kick out the computer as well. If it's not doing that, I usually don't worry. But when I have to keep changing the time, resetting the time, yeah, wasn't it, Lori? And it was like a storm off and on because it would snow pretty good and then it would stop and then it would come back and um yeah, so I was regretfully pushed the show out until today because I knew that that was going to knock my computer out. Plus, it's not good for your electronics either when it's doing that. It'll take a toll on them. I'm usually late, but I can't find when you're on. Well, lately, YouTube has not been the nicest to be sending notifications out because I haven't been receiving any for any of the and it's the shows I watch all the time, so it's in the algorithm. So or I'll get them really late, like all of a sudden, last night, or was it this morning? I think it was this morning. I received the notification for Shan's that we had did there. Daphne and I ended up going on with her, and that was a couple of days ago. And I'm pretty sure it was either late last night when I get up to go to the bathroom or this morning. Anyways, and I was like, "What the heck?" And, yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's they do some changes in the new year, in their systems or whatever, and it messes things up for a bit or what, but it'd be worth your while to check and make sure you're subbed and still, members of certain channels that you really enjoy, because I was unsubbed to Sunny, It's Crime and Shame, American Justice. And American Justice, I had just subbed, and she's trying to get up to her 500, and by the way, if y'all can, go over and sub to her. She's been doing this for a while, but is just building her channel now. But she's fantastic. So it's American Justice, and if you're gonna look, on YouTube, American_Justice, and it'll come up. And, yeah, so, it kicked me out from being a sub to her, and I thought, "Well, geez, that's kinda disappointing for somebody who's trying to, at that beginning stage, to lose subscribers that way," and some people might not even know that they were unsubscribed. And this isn't uncommon. Since I've been doing my YouTube channel, I've this has taken place before as well. So anyways, worth your while. Um, Justin Clutch Them Pearls, I was on sub to him, plus my membership didn't continue, so it's just strange. Uh, Oh, Summer, you were in the vertical. Yeah. Let me remove that from the screen so y'all can see me while I'm talking to you. So those are the numbers there. If anyone ever has information on any of the cases that we ever discuss or cover, please reach out to one of those numbers there. Um, so hope everyone's doing well. It always says I'm on sub. That yeah, when I come in channels, but then I just stay in there for a few seconds and chat bar's open. Yeah, and that's another thing it's doing. So and you're actually still sub. So it'll tell you you're on sub, but you're actually not on sub. And then there could be another channel where you actually are on sub and you don't realize you're on sub. So I don't know. It's a bit of a mess right now. Hello to everybody else new coming in. Thank you, April, for the compliment. Uh yeah, yeah. Extremely cold and lots of snow squalls here in Ontario. Yeah, we get those bad here too. When I think of Canada, it just makes me picture I've always covered in snow and freezing weather every day, way too cold for me. Yeah, yeah, and sometimes, I mean, there's times that we, have not a very nice summer or springs, and you get a lot of rain, you get a late cold spring like we did last year and the year before, and the only reason why I remember that is because of the Lilly&Jack going missing and how cold it was out, and you're thinking about those individuals being out there cold, and then the year before, we had a woman at the same time of year who went missing as well, and it was that same time of year, and it was very, very cold, windy, rainy. It wasn't a nice May at all. So, yeah, so and then you go into summers where it's not the nicest summer, you don't get a lot of pool time or beach time, and, then you go right back into that winter, so it's like, ugh, yeah. Uh yeah, you're tired of shoveling, Ginger? Yeah, I bet. I'm lucky I don't have to do any of that. My hubby does it all, and I would never be able to. Mhm. Dragonfly, hi. Thank you. And everyone else who's come in, thank you for being here. Um, yeah, so there's a lot going on. It's either feast or famine, in this case, and others as well, but this one seems to you know, there's not too much coming out. Hi, Betty. Thanks for being here. There's not too much that comes out, and then all of a sudden, a whole bunch comes out, it seems. So, we're at that stage again where we're being, it's feast time, I guess. Um, and hi, Nana. So, there's a lot I coulda chose to get into today, but there's so much we'd never, and a lot of the other channels, of course, have been covering it as well. And I was on with Shan and Daphne on Shan's channel, Tea Time. And hi, Dee, and Carrie, hi. And we covered the initial part of what came out on the documents. Thank you to Daphne who received those, and so we went over what we could then, and there was some more stuff that had come out as well. And the only thing I really see in what came out after what we had after being on with Daphne and Shan, the two things that stick out to me is, the, Hayden, uh, quite a bit of information on Hayden there about finding the blanket, and, which confirms that Malaya's family was out, uh, searching. They were out searching, so we really do have to believe or watch what we're told, what we believe. when we're told stuff because it really creates confusion in what's fact and what's not. So, in somebody else's delusional thinking, because they believe their own lies and they want to, spin that narrative that, hurt nobody in her family was out searching and they were more interested in the family reunion. That's obviously not true. Um, and uh, so, I mean, that shows that aspect of it. And then, of course, some more details on finding that. And his girlfriend as well, who states that below that blanket, there was also two t-shirts on the ground just below where that blanket was hanging, which is very strange. And Malaya states confirmed the blanket does belong to Lily, but the two t-shirts she stated were not the kids. So I don't know. There's something strange there. That's again, do we believe in coincidences? Yeah. If you have a question for Nova, please put question in all caps before your message so we don't miss it. Ginger, do you want to try that star thing that I had told you about? So when you hover over somebody's name, do you see a little star up in the right-hand corner? If you want to tell me that now. Yeah, we're gonna pull that one up. What I did end up choosing to do for today, there's 2 interviews that I didn't really get to, uh, review myself very thoroughly, so I thought we could do that together, and that is one of them that just come out well, when I looked at it today, it said 17 hours. And the other one is the Globe and Mail, and actually reading through it and picking out anything that sticks out. No, there is no star that I see. Okay. I'll figure that out because I know there is a way that you should be able to star comments. He did look terrible in that. He did look terrible in it. He looked cold and shaky. Probs off his well, probably cold out too. She was dressed pretty warm too. He didn't have a very heavy jacket on. I never heard about the interview. Yeah, so we'll pull that up, April. My initial thought was that why now the uh, ABUSE allegations, but these are statements made back in June. Just now, they are redacted. Do you have that? Do I have? Oh, absolutely, D. Yes, yes. This was stated way back. And in fact, she had even stated it in, uh, you know, messages between her and Sunny from It's a Criming Shame. And most of us had went over those on our channels way back then when she had that conversation with Sunny. So no, this is not anything new for sure. And then we have the fact that the day that she ended up leaving, Rcmp asking her, "Do you feel safe here?" So there's tons and tons of indicators that, we've all been discussing and pointing out, but you can't call it a fact until well, for me, when Malaya made those statements to Sunny, which is pretty much exactly the same as what we're seeing in the documents, uh, then it's fact, right? And she did already state that stuff to Sunny. So, yes, thank you. Credit to them. Yeah. Uh, hair's gone so gray. Oh, you guys are talking about either CTV, CBC, Global. Let me have a look. Oh, we're gonna pull it up anyways. Angelina asked a question. We're gonna pull up the global one, which was 17 hours ago, Daniel. Oh, yeah, Angelina, we're gonna pull it up. I actually already have it all ready up here to click on. We're just, warming up here. Uh, one thing I do wanna state, is we do have to remember, um, it's very difficult because, I'm a firm believer and advocate for the fact of children not being able to consent. Children cannot consent. And when I first started my channel, that's really the community I was involved with then. It was all geared toward not just that. It had to do with children and or sorry, women as well, and DV and um, other stuff, in regards to women statistically. And but in regards to children, it was really geared towards children cannot consent. So they just don't have in their little brains, they don't understand. They just don't understand how we can understand. So then we have to make the decision for them of basically what we're going to allow, we're going to consent to, you know, what these children can be around or and not just parents, the judges, CPS, and so on. And one thing that really irritated me, one case was the Travis Decker case, um, because, um, and this is where I say it's so, you have to be so careful because, of course, um, in the DV situation where, the male is the perpetrator and statistically, that's how it goes. Yes, the woman is a victim, right? So, was, Travis Decker's wife a victim in all of that? Yes. Yes, of course she was, as well as the children. But then you have the other side of the fence, right? Where people will feel very frustrated and, you know, can't understand, why? Why would she stand in court and state, not fight for her kids to not be around him, but yet actually uh, fight for him to have time with her children, knowing that he's non-compliant with everything. He wouldn't go to therapy, wouldn't take his medication. He was dealing with addiction issues. He didn't have a home. He was out the street. All those things. And then further, we found out from the neighbor that she was scared of him. She was crying. There was incidences there that took place leading up to this. And I mean, for me, I think, of course, it's survival because, of course, she probably feared if she took that other path of standing in court and saying um, all of those things, that he may have just come right into the home and red rum them all, right? And unfortunately, at the end of the day, he did end up red rumming their three beautiful baby girls, right? Um, yeah, yeah, Lynn, exactly. But, I don't really often hear people victim shaming and blaming her in that way. Well, she shoulda did this, she coulda did that, she, coulda spoke right up there in court when they asked her and, why did she not only speak up, but she did the complete opposite and fought for him to have some time with the kids and, um, you know, like, that victim shaming and blaming, right? And I know it comes from a place of anger and frustration as well because, 3 innocent babies who, again, can't, they can't consent to being put in that position. They don't have the little brains yet, their little brains yet can't make those decisions. But, and I don't wanna see that here also with Malaya, so I just wanna give a reminder of that, and that's not to say that there isn't accountability, and possibly some culpability when we find out what really took place here. And I mean, again, it's the same as Travis Decker's wife as she moves on and gets married and has more children and, ends up in the same situation. Well, reflecting and looking at what accountability could you have taken place or could you have done to, and I shouldn't even say what could you have done, but it's basically what will you do different going down uh, further down the road in life, right? Because you don't want that to happen again. So, what things need to be done to prevent something like, and that's for all of us. That's not just for a victim in those circumstances, who now have to continue on in life and try to understand how not to be in that position again, I guess is the best way to say it, right? Um, and uh, or have your children in that position of again of being off with somebody who's you know obviously out of his mind, not taking his medication, dealing with issues with alcohol, and I don't know if there was drugs involved there as well. Everything that was going on there, and shame on the judge as well, right? Shame on the judge. But we just have to be careful because there's always somebody in that living that life as a victim, right? And many of our chatters are those people who are still in that position of being a victim and not knowing how to get out, not realizing they're a victim yet. Um, were victims, but did get out and still doing what they need to do in life to protect themselves and or them and their children. Um, and I know we do because I talk to them in the background, right? So I want us to be careful of what we're saying in the chat is what I'm trying to say. And remember, like, I get it. I get that there has to be some accountability because the only way things ever change is to look at things, try to understand where things could have went different in a more positive way and to, you know, figure out how to do certain things different moving forward, right? Once you're out of that situation. Or, and even Malaya as an example, she still has one child. So surely to God, she'll never want to be in that position again to be with somebody who's treating her in that way. But the only way that she can start to try to avoid that is to look at what type of accountability she has to take in her decision making that, will now, uh, as she moves on in life, um, to protect her child and herself, but firstly her child. And then again, like I said, in Malaya's case, there's the culpability as well. Um, you know, when we do find out, well, I mean, for sure, I would culpability for both of them is neglect, definitely. Um, but once we have a better understanding of what did take place here, um, then we'll know more about, what culpabilities there truly is to have for both of them, right? So I hope everyone understands that, um, you know, we just have to be careful. I get that the whole accountability thing. I think we all get that. I mean, and the possibility of being culpable to some degree. Um, oh, Valerie, you got notification? Well, that's good. Yeah. Children's exposure to intimate partner violence between parents and other caregivers accounts for nearly half of all cases investigated and substantiated by children welfare authorities in Canada. Yeah. Hello, Lady Allen. Valerie. Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that before we started to get into these articles. I was gonna bring up, like, Ginger's sent me some stuff. But I mean, I basically just wrapped it up in a nutshell, and that's, my knowledge of things. Snow in Pictou County, yeah. Uh, just from following things over the years, and, it's pretty much, what Ginger sends me some really good information. We never know what anyone's going through. Everyone's life is different. Exactly. Exactly. And there's different, yeah, like, when you're living with DV, there's different degrees of what's going on in that situation, right? Like how threatened is someone being that we don't know about? Um, there's so many different, oh, geez, I just itched my head and now it's right red. I have very sensitive skin. Um, yeah, we really don't know to the degree, right, of what someone especially I mean, we've pretty much known for a while there was some DV going on there. Um, I can yeah, like, it's been a while. Hi, Jerry Lynn, that we've been kinda cluing into this. So, now to what degree, like I said, uh, yeah, is not good situations. Nancy there, thank you. Driving and listening. Some good entertainment while you're driving. All relationship violence is unacceptable, is harmful to the victim, and threatens the well being and security of children within the family. Yeah, yeah. Deafening silence. Hello, thank you for being here. Carrie HS. I believe young girls, women should be taught in school about the cycle of abuse. Carrie, 100%. I've been saying that for eons. And the boys. So boys need to be early educated on uh, uh, RAPE, right? And keeping those hormones in control, what they need to do, and it should be a man teaching them. It really should. S and, yeah, and and about, the cycle of abuse and all that stuff. Yes, both. Both should be taught very early on. Mhm. Yep. In my opinion, we are taught. Sometimes we love someone so much, and the belief in change and fear of separation of family makes decisions hard to think about and phantom change. And fathom change. And yeah, and that is the cycle. That is the cycle. Yep, part of the cycle. Sorry for the information attack, that's okay, just as long as you don't expect that I'm gonna answer everyone. Because I don't mind the information, but, yeah, I obviously can't answer every email, but no, I don't mind. Uh, the favorite part of my work is recovery from trauma learning about perpetrators, how to protect yourself from future perpetrators. Exactly. To prevent history repeating itself. Very well put, deafening silence. Exactly what I was just saying, but you wrapped it up in a nice little uh, nutshell. Exactly, and that is accountability, because if you don't take that initiative to go, "Holy Jesus, I do not wanna end up in this again. What do I need to do to not have that happen," right, to me or my child? Um, and I say you first because it's you're the first one that's gonna meet the perpetrator. Well, typically, I guess if you had your children involved in something and the perpetrators, their teacher or soccer coach or something, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. All right, let's go to that article. Uh, yeah, exactly, Brian. Good on you. Good on you. Yes, every man should. And my husband, who's actually my two boys' stepfather, he did as well. He had those conversations, right? Uh, uh, 'Cause he taught me stuff I didn't know, like, this is what men need to do to rein the hormones in and, and he taught me stuff that he told me his father taught him, and I thought it was really neat because it was stuff I certainly didn't know, right? And he had a good father who taught him stuff, and, it's all very pretty simple. Um, but, yeah, and then he had those talks with my boys, so you have to. Anger management and self-control, yeah, would be great class for teens, definitely, yeah, and no is no, yeah, yeah, but the thing is, that's so "Alright, boys, RAP, no is no." There need y you know They need to go beyond that. Yeah, no is no, but there needs to be more teaching than just that. Like I said, there's stuff my husband told me that, he says every young man should know that I wouldn't even think to, tell my boys. I'm sorry I dropped phone and then picked it up. It comment the letter. So, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I've accidentally reported people before. And one time my grandson reported somebody when he got up in the coach and grabbed the phone, just like he booked me for a live one time. But, yeah, you always respect women, yeah. There's some good men out there, that is for sure. There are good men out there. Yeah. Exactly, Ginger. Yes, and I think it's also imperative to consider how trauma affects decision making. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I mean some women in those circumstances, their heads are just spinning. They don't know how to think. Like, believe me, believe me, I was there with that getting your head spinning, and you're just they've got you so busy, like into the thoughts of "Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me?" Because I got you so beat down, and then on top of that, your head's spinning over this and that and this. Like, you guys, look at what we've seen ourselves and how our heads were spinning of, "Oh, well, this was said, that was said, this was said, that was said," and then in between the mental beatdown, well, you're, an effing KFC chicken or whatever, right? Like, imagine living with that, and that's how you're being treated, and, um, no, your head is just spinning. You truly cannot think straight, and it takes a long time afterwards for your thinking to come back to where it should be. There's a video called Consent P for Kids and teens. It's brilliant. Consent tea for kids and teens. It's brilliant. Okay. Yep. There is some amazing dads out there. Yeah. Better than the moms. Yep. Absolutely. Look at AB raising his daughter, uh, who has, uh, I was gonna say Down syndrome, she's autistic. Um, you can tell she's happy, you hear. Some grew up in the cycle and have no idea, yeah, they are in the cycle of violence, exactly. Yep, yep, yep. Alright, so let's go to I guess we'll do the global one first since I guess some of you guys didn't see that as well. Ah, it's got good old Danny Boy on it. Oh, Danny Boy. Is that it? I think that's it. I don't see where it says global. Oh, there it is. Yeah, global news. Okay. Um, I thought there was a video with this. So I'm not seeing a video. Hmm. Just give me 1 second, guys, because I'm positive there was a video with this, and now I'm not seeing the video, but it could be because I had it open so long. You might have to refresh there. Just okay, found it. Sorry, guys. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Um, yeah, sometimes it'll kick the video out, but still have the article, so I had to go find it again. Um, I better hurry up and share screen before it does it again. That's it. Mm, I guess that's as big as I can make it. Oh, there we go.
Person's case are newly unsealed court documents in Lilly&Jack Sullivan's missing persons case are raising questions about the relationship between the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, and stepfather Daniel Martel. Filed to support search warrant applications for the case, the documents lay out Brooks Murray's and Martel's responses to investigators' questions. When asked if Martel was ever physically abusive in their relationship, Brooks Murray said he would, quote, try to block her, hold her down, and once pushed her. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Brooks Murray declined Global News' request for comment. Have you ever tried to block Malaya, hold her down, or push her?
No, all those allegations are false. And as I said, it was just to paint me in a bad light. That's basically why there's all of those allegations of abuse came out. I never physically abused Malaya.
Martel says he approved of these redactions being lifted, adding not much has changed when it comes to his public reputation.
I've been, trying to keep the public up to date as much as possible. My image hasn't changed at all. It was always Daniel's evil, Daniel's a monster, and with that painted narrative, the public automatically will just jump to the belief of guilt.
He says he provided his DNA to run forensics on Lily's blanket, which was found in the woods by family members on May 2nd.
They didn't need a warrant to have my DNA, so I was willing to do it. I watched them sign on the consent form, no criminal involvement in the case of Lilly&Jack. So it was nice to see that, that box checked for no criminal involvement. I signed my name on the consent sheet.
The disappearance of the Sullivan siblings is still being treated as a missing persons investigation, despite the involvement of major crimes.
But when they do have a suspect and they dive into investigating that suspect or group of individuals, then it will pivot to a criminal investigation at that point.
Ella MacDonald, Global News, Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia.
All right, what do you think of that, guys? What do you think? Yeah. Hello, everyone new coming in the room. Uh, um, am I frozen or is she frozen? Hi, Cheryl, Wolfie. Thank you for being here. Uh, anybody else I did not? Merv. Anybody else I did not say hi? Countryside, Wildflowers, just in case I forget because of my memory, and there's a lot of names to try to remember. Rena, hello, you're here now. Um, right. Tam. Um, yeah, it's I mean, it was none of that that painted that light for me with Daniel. Like he says, it's to paint him in that light, of being evil. Um, like honestly, Daniel did that himself. He did because I was paying attention to him. Um, each individual. I'm pretty good at not having other people swayed me about someone. That person will sway me about themselves. And I've, you know, always been that way. Like even if someone comes to me and says blah 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 blah, blah about somebody, I have to make that determination myself, right? Um because, uh, there could be well, first of all, if it's family, you get the dynamics there, so that's, something I'm just not getting in the middle of. And, in other cases, there could be reasons why. So I need to, myself figure things out, and if I find that person out to not be nice, or coming off as evil, as Daniel states, he's the only one stating that, um then I'll come to that conclusion myself, and Daniel is the one who's ever given me any kind of impression of what he, uh what he has come off as. He's done that. Um, but what was the other thing I was gonna say? Shenanigans, hello. Thank you for being here, and anybody else who came in that I missed. Yeah, so Daniel's, done that him on his own. Um, the blood. What do you think they drew his blood for DNA? What was the purpose of that, do you think? He says it was due to the blanket, but any thoughts, extending from with that in mind? Shan, did you when you went through that whole the form The form, I was gonna bring it up. I gotta open Messenger up because Shan got a hold of the form that Daniel would have seen, when they were drawing his blood, or the form that would have went along with that. And Shan, did you say nowhere on that form does it say that about there it is. There's nowhere to check off whether it has that they're drawing that blood for DNA due to, criminal involvement or not, uh, something like that. Hi, Daphne. Thank you for being here. Shan, I'm gonna make you a mod too, but I didn't yet. I wish it was just as simple as clicking on the person's name while they're in the chat. Maybe it is, and I missed that. No. Firehorse, thank you for being here. Finding solace. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a dog's age. Hope you're doing well. Wow. Betty Knight. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I'll bring that up. Uh, the form that Shan. Ooh, can't see that very well, can you? Why won't it let me make it bigger? Hmm. Oh my gosh. That doesn't show up very well at all. Hmm. I don't know when he did the blood. Uh, was it Mike that asked that? Oh, Cynthia, hi. Um, Nature Walks, hello. Thank you for being here. Um, where are Lily and Jack? Why are people lying? Yep, got that right. Thank you, Miss Shenanigans. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I got a new song for to play. This will be my first time. And this one is called Friends Forever. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Um, but let's read the article. Let's read the article and see what it says. I can't make that bigger, so you guys aren't going to be able to see it. It actually has it actually shows that I can make it bigger, but then when I click on it, it won't allow me to. So I'm not going to waste time messing around with it. But that is the form, and I believe what Shan said when she went over it, she goes over that whole form. So you can catch that on her show, Shenanigans, Tea Time with Shenanigans. And you can um, see that. Ginger, if you want to put Ginger or Rena want to put her link in the chat, and Daphne's as well. And it will um, because they have also gone over Daphne's gone over some other court documents, and, um, Shan went over this form, okay? And I think that was yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before, but I think it was yesterday. Sorry, guys. And check that out there because it's interesting. It's interesting. Oh, thank you. You guys are so on top of stuff. You guys are so on top of stuff. And by the way, guys, Wolfie has his own channel now. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. What's your channel called, Wolfie? Put it in the chat. Yeah. Do you guys find it odd on Court Docs say Daniel searched for hours before RCMP arrived? Yes, I've always. Yeah. Mm. Okay, let's go back to that article. I will read that out loud and see if it states exactly when blood tests were taken. Where the heck did my background go? Geez, you do one thing and everything changes. Uh, oh, I got a completely different background now. All right, I hope you guys can see that okay. I've got too many screens open here. I don't know which one to click on. Okay, so I need to I want to make this page bigger for you guys. The mother of 2 siblings. I hope you guys can hear me okay. If you can't, let me know. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Got a can of tuna, Daphne. That's what I used to do until I could get back out and get the cat food. Okay, good. You all can hear me. Okay. Just wanna make sure before I go over to the screen. Uh, I'll make that a little bit bigger. Okay. The mother of 2 young siblings who have been missing for 8 months told Nova Scotia police her common law partner had been physically abusive at times, according to 2 newly unsealed court documents. And guys, just because somebody hasn't been charged, Daniel, when we first started pointing out the things we noted, right, that would indicate domestic DV going on and abuse there, right? Daniel, Daniel's logic is that no, that's not true because I've never been charged with it. Now, do you think every single person who is committing abuse towards their other half has been charged with it? Especially when you're still in the midst of it? Um, I mean, that's just silly. But anyways, the documents were filed to support applications for search warrants, and none of the allegations have been tested in court. Lily and Jack Sullivan, aged 6 and 4 at this time, or at that time, Jack is now 5, were reported missing on May 2nd, 2025, from their home in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, in Pictou County. The children's family had called 911 and said the siblings wandered away that morning from the home, which is situated in a heavily wooded area. Despite repeated and extensive searches involving police, volunteers, and cadaver dogs, the children have not been found. At the time, they were living with their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, and her partner, Daniel Martel. Among the unsealed documents is an interview with police where Brooks Murray discussed her relationship with Martel. When asked if Daniel was physically abusive, Malaya said he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her, the documents read. And I can guarantee you there's probably, in my opinion, more than that, because typically what an individual is speaking of is not everything. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. In his interview with police, the documents stated Martel said the couple had been together for about 3 years and it moved pretty quickly. Yeah, I guess it did. He moved in with her 2 weeks after they met on Facebook. He moved in with her 2 weeks after into her grandmother's home where her and Lily and Jack were living. So that's pretty quick. He said the two had recently been fighting about money. He said their relationship is good. They have ups and downs like any couple. And those are all those typical things, that myself and others, we're picking up on, the ups and downs like any other couple. And so many other red flags, right, that were picked up on. I actually would love to go back to my first video where I first said, "I think there's something wrong here." There's pretty sure there's some DV going on here because believe me, I received some pretty nasty emails and comments in the comments section after I had did that video. Who was I to think I was accusing him of that? And what evidence do I have? And blah, 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 blah. Very well written as too, like very well written emails. Um, he said they would not in the sense of what they were saying, but I mean grammar and punctuation very well written. He said they would yell at each other when they were fighting, but there was no physical violence in their relationship. All right. Reached Thursday by the Canadian press, Martel denied the allegations of abuse, saying they are part of the narrative designed to make him look evil. And like I said, he himself made himself look evil. Um, I had that all figured out before Malaya even had her conversation with Sonny and before the documents were unsealed or unredacted. And not just myself, anybody else who has a grasp on it had that figured out. The unsealed documents also revealed that police spoke to the children's biological father, who said he had not seen the siblings in a couple of years, but had been paying child support up until he lost his job 9 months earlier. Nearly 6 months into their disappearance, Martel told Global News he no longer believed the siblings were in the woods near the family's rural home. Let me read that again. Nearly 6 months into their disappearance, Martel told Global News he no longer believed the siblings were in the woods near the family's rural home. He no longer, he never did. He always said they were not in the woods right from day one. The narrative was being spun um, that Cin you know, that Cindy was there so quick, why is that? All the stuff that wasn't true, that we know now is not true, was being pushed on day one. So that's not something he now believes. Um, Speculations run wild, but I'd like everybody to know that I'm working with RCMP Major Crimes Unit almost every day. Wow. He's working with them almost every day now because before it was down to 3 days a week, every second day. They never get in touch with him anymore. He can't get a hold of them, and then he's trying to text them, and that's frustrating. Now they're in touch with him every day. Wow, that's awesome. Just trying to figure stuff out, he said on October 30th, 2025. Well, that was October. In a year-end interview with Global News, Chief Superintendent Dan Morrow with Nova Scotia RCMP's Criminal Operations Division called the case extremely rare. Yep. He said police have received about 1,030 tips and conducted 86 formal interviews. He added that more than 8,100 functioning videos have been reviewed by the team supervising the investigation, as well as 7 polygraph examinations conducted. So there's been a lot of work conducted behind the scenes, Morrow said. I've never seen it across my career. But where it's rare, the part that isn't rare is the complexity of the case. Like why it's taking so long, because these investigations have to be done in a methodical approach. Yes, and especially after a certain amount of time passes, because why do I feel like I read the wrong did I read the wrong mother of two innocently missing for 8 months? Hold on. No, that's it, but it didn't talk about the blood in the actual article. It was in the video, I guess. Um, but why, yeah, after a certain amount of time, it you know, it said that it typically becomes more swaying towards a criminal investigation when the individual is not found, to possibly being criminal, right, in nature, because people are typically found. So, alright, let's go over to the other one. So this one I can play because it has the voice, and this is the Globe and Mail one again. Guess I'll check you guys out first, see how y'all are doing. Nova, did you see the 3-minute video of Daniel talking? Yep, we just watched that. Is that are you talking about the one we just watched? Are you talking about the one on Global? We just watched one on Global, if that's what you mean. Oh, thank you. Daniel is so mhm. Yes, yes. Yeah. I mean, to me, it was creepy him showing up at Patty's house after polygraph thing. Like, that is so wrong. Like, dude, get a grip. Yeah. Daniel is a liar. Can't believe anything he says. I wouldn't disagree with that. Daniel, as far as I know, Daniel does not have a liaison. If you mean like the RCMP, that is Malaya who has, because she is the family member. Uh, and there's so many things that point to me that Malaya is, eh, I don't know if you want to use the word working with the RCMP, but is she definitely is in touch with them and doing, when you see somebody video taking a recording into RCMP of Darren Getty's because you're trying to understand what this goofball is doing in regards to your children. And, there's certain things that she has stated in the letter that she wrote and in stuff that she wrote to Sonny, where it indicates she's in contact with our CMP and giving them certain information and answering certain questions. So I certainly see that. I see that. But then I hear, that she's not helping them. And I don't see that. I don't see that in what I'm noting. Yeah. Wonder how long he had been away from his wife before moving in with MBM at Patty's. Yeah. Yeah. Would be interesting, eh? Cheryl, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you very much. Thank you for becoming a thank you, Cheryl. Ah, YouTube has done this reply to messages on YouTube with voice. I wish they'd do it for I know, Daphne, I thought the same thing. Okay, so that is the one you were talking about. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a new video out. Yeah, yeah. So that's the one we just watched. Yeah. So now seems everyone's doing good in the chat there. And thanks for being here, everyone. Lots of love to you all. I appreciate you all being here. Um, so let's go over now to the other article I wanted to listen to. And I think we'll go to CBC too, because there's where the officers talking about um something. Don't mention. Oh, you're funny, Miss Shan. Bent all sideways, you mean? Don't mention that person. Um At Nova, she has spoken to our CMP. I will let you know my thoughts privately as it's risky discussing that stuff here. Yes, 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 definitely. Send me an email. Yes. Trail hiker, hello. Thank you for being here. My understanding from Belinda Meadow is in foster care with one of MBM's families care and wants to adopt. Um, yeah, sure, go ahead. Yes, please. Please, please. Um, yes, and please email me absolutely with aw, thanks, Shan. With thank you for being a friend. Forever friend. Thank you so much. Um, I thought you were. I thought you were. I was sure you were. Who was it that said they would want it to oh, deafening silence. Yes, yeah. Please feel free to email me 100%. Yes. Yeah, it's cheap. It's only $1.49. It's pretty cheap. So this one will play, and then that way my throat won't give up on me. But anything in it that is worth going back to, we will.
Mother of missing NS children complained of intimate partner violence to police, court documents show. By Lindsay Jones.
Mhm. I don't know why it stopped.
Mother of missing NS children complained of intimate partner violence to police, court documents show. By Lindsay Jones. The mother of Jack and Lily Sullivan, the missing Nova Scotia children who disappeared more than 8 months ago, told police in the early stages of the investigation that her common law partner had, at times, been physically violent with her in the home, newly unsealed court documents show. When Rcmp major crime investigators asked the children's mother, Malehia Brooks Murray, Whether her then common law partner, Daniel Martel, was physically abusive, she alleged that he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. Police wrote in an application to request records to help with their investigation into the missing children. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Mr. Martel, however, told police that the former couple yelled at each other when fighting, but there was no physical violence, the court documents show. He also told police they had been recently fighting about money. Mr. Martel denied the account of physical abuse that Miss Brooks Murray gave to police. "I did not ever abuse Miss Brooks Murray," he wrote in a text message to the Globe and Mail. He described the allegation as a personal attack that unfairly casts suspicion over him when he's been the only one raising awareness about Jack and Lily. "If I remain in the public eye as a monster, the public's choice is guilty until proven innocent," he wrote, adding that neither he nor his family had anything to do with the children's disappearance. The abuse allegation has not been tested in court, and Mr. Martel has not been charged with any offense. The documents show that Ms. Brooks Murray told police about the alleged abuse during her fifth statement, almost a week after she broke up with Mr. Martel and moved away with their toddler. The allegations were recently unsealed after a legal application by the Globe and CBC to a Nova Scotia judge to release more information concerning the early stages of the investigation into the children's disappearance. Lily, 6, and Jack, 4, were reported missing by their mother and stepfather on the morning of May 2nd. Ms. Brooks Murray called 911 around 10 a.m. to report they had wandered away while she and Mr. Martel were sleeping with their toddler at home in the remote hamlet of Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. A massive search led by Rcmp turned up few clues. Police have been tight-lipped about the case. However, they recently explained that the large volume of information they've gathered is helping form pictures of what may have taken place. They declined to share their theories. In the early stages of the investigation, the Rcmp made 12 applications in court under the Missing Persons Act, but those applications were sealed by court order. At the request of the media outlets, the Rcmp consented to release some information in August, but redacted significant portions of the affidavits. The Globe and CBC went back to court to argue in favor of lifting more of the redactions, and the Rcmp consented to releasing more, but not all, of the information in the records. One of the reasons cited by the Rcmp for maintaining the redactions is the possibility that the investigation could turn criminal and that the release of such information could compromise an investigation. When an investigation is ongoing, it is difficult to know what information, if made public, would compromise future investigative steps. While at this stage we do not have reasonable grounds to believe a crime has been committed, that assessment could change as we move forward with our investigation, wrote Rcmp Corporal Charlene Curl in a January 8 affidavit. Corporation Curl said in the document, "The Rcmp continues to explore all avenues and are leveraging technologically based investigative police techniques which may provide information to support criminality and uncover the whereabouts of the missing children." The newly released information shows that investigators were focused on learning about the home life of Jack and Lily in the early stages of their disappearance. The Globe previously reported on their family situation, including alleged coercive control that affected their mother, the parents' financial struggles, as well as admitted drug use by their stepfather, multiple black eyes on the children, and a visit from a provincial child protection social worker to investigate a report of abuse or neglect. Ms. Brooks Murray did not respond to a request for comment. Previously, she has denied involvement in the children's disappearance. Other information in the documents that is still sealed relates to the wording of questions asked of Jack and Lily's parents and others during polygraph tests. Corporal Curl said she anticipates more people will be asked to do polygraph tests, and if the exact wording is released, it could seriously risk the integrity of the results of any future tests. Rcmp and Ms. Brooks Murray also opposed releasing highly personal information that pertains to Ms. Brooks Murray and Mr. Martel's relationship, parenting, and financial situation. Corporal Curl wrote that despite intense media coverage and social media speculation, the highly personal information, to the best of her knowledge, hasn't been made public or confirmed by either Brooks Murray or Mr. Martel. We want people who may be witnesses to feel comfortable coming forward and sharing information with us to assist investigations without fear that everything they say may become public, she wrote. Ms. Brooks Murray opposed releasing her personal information because it's highly personal, biographical core information that reveals intimate details about her as a person, wrote her lawyers Jennifer Cox and Samantha Allen in submissions dated January. Davini. Ms. Brooks Murray, whose father is Mi'kmaq, is a member of Sepeknekatik First Nation. Her lawyers asked the court to consider harm to her dignity through an Indigenous lens, noting that anti-Indigenous stereotypes are pervasive and harmful. Releasing information about Ms. Brooks Murray causes a greater affront to her dignity as it may breathe life into these stereotypes, wrote Ms. Cox and Ms. Allen. Mr. Martel did not take a position in court about the release of the information.
Nature walks, very, very good point. Sometimes hurt means it happened more than once. Absolutely. Yep, and it hurt more than once, right? So sometimes it hurt, sometimes it didn't, right? Probably depends on how bad he lost his temper, how bad she was fighting back. That was another red flag for me when Daniel stated. And guys, this is, I want to say too, this is about Lily and Jack. And I know we're talking about a lot of the DV today, and that's what's basically an unredacted and what's in these news articles. We're not specifically talking about Lily and Jack, but we know that these situations are part of the statistics that lead to children either wandering off, getting the heck out of there because they're petrified, they're scared. I did it myself when I was a kid, and at 5 years old and ran away, right? Because I didn't wanna be in that house. And I hid all day in a car, all day, all night, and just stayed in the back of a car, an old abandoned car that didn't have a lock on the door. Or it leads to something nefarious, right? So this is part of the statistics of what leads up to these situations, right? Same as the Travis Decker case, same as the current Tepe case, where he came back 9 years later. Well, I shouldn't take him back because I'm sure he was stalking her the whole time. And, you know, gained access to her home with her children in it and red rummed her and her husband in her bed, you know, 9 years later, so it's all a part of this the statistics of these cases. Thank you to everyone who recently came in. Cool J, uh, Sue, Euler, anybody I miss? I know there's quite a few you that come in. Holly Jolly. Sorry if I missed anybody. Just the facts, ma'am. Hello. Thank you all to being here. Thank you, thank you. So there is some stuff, I should say, that oh, you're sick, are you? 'Tis the season, Trudels high. Yeah, 'tis the season, right? For the old yucky stuff going around. Yeah. Sorry to hear you're sick. And anybody else that's sick? I know it's part of the season, so sorry to all of you, and I hope you feel better soon. Um, yeah, it's serious stuff. And with Michael McKee, and Michael McKee is the ex husband, she was only married to him for 7 months. After 7 months, see, the difference there being strong woman, brought up probably, in a better way, better surroundings than some other women who end up in domestic violence situations, like, so we can compare her to, Malaya, 2 different type of women in that situation, right? So, with Monique, after 7 months, she was a strong woman who, knew she was not in a good situation, and she got out of there, you know? Um, However, it didn't matter because 9 years later, I think it was 7 years after the finalization of their divorce, he came after her and red-rummed her and her husband. Just a monster in the night, entering your home. I think he got in the home way long before then and was already in there myself. I think he was scouting that house out and just waiting for that door to be accidentally left unlocked. Um, and yeah, red-rummed her and, her husband, and just thank goodness the children survived. He did not touch them. Not that that makes him any kind of an angel, because it doesn't at all. They now have to live without their beautiful parents, who would have obviously have been fantastic, beautiful parents to those 2 babies. In my opinion, that court doc that was sent in September 2025 fueled his fury, no doubt. Yeah, yeah, can't be a coincidence. Sarah Jones, hello. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it can't be a coincidence, right? That would be the thing for sure. Yep. And then he had other stressors going on there too, being sued, and then that, and man, he just dished it all out on her again, like the same way he would have when they were together, married, living together in that short 7 months. Um, so there this here article, I want to go over some stuff in this one. Um, Let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. I'm gonna start at where it starts talking about why the RCMP, uh, start one of the reasons cited by RCMP for maintaining some of the redactions. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to take a sip of my drink here and, get my throat ready, and then I'll get reading. Alrighty-o. Okay, one of the reasons cited, I don't know why that's coming up, so me, it looks like it's coming up blurry on your guys' screen, and so did that other article that I took up, or, the information from the RCMP. Can you guys see that okay, or does it look blurry? There, I just made it a little bit bigger. Well, I guess that's a little bit better. Yeah, exactly, Shan. Can you imagine? It's sick. And that's why I say, like, with Travis Decker in that case, imagine like, I think that's why she made all those decisions she made where, like, a person could go, "Well, like, why didn't you speak up in court? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't" but the fear, just the fear. Like, we have no idea what these women are going through behind closed doors and what is being said to them at the extremes of the situation, right? I mean, people who do that stuff, like, you're not just talking about somebody just losing their temper a bit and then feeling guilty about it, and, you're talking about people who will do anything for no one to know the secret, right? And that means making sure, right, that that woman or those children know that, you know, these are the consequences of this ever being found out and living with that fear in your head, right? And with a woman, typically it's children held over her head. Um, and how do we not know that that's why Lily and Jack are gone? They're gone now, perhaps. How do we not know that that's not why, right? Um, that when he found out that Malaya was not gonna listen to those threats anymore, and she was figuring out a way to get out of there, that he made his threats to her come true. Like, we don't know, right? Um, but you can just kinda run some thoughts through your head and wonder, did this happen? Did that happen? It's all very ugly, but statistically those are the circumstances, typically, um, unfortunately. Hi, Tammy. Okay, so one of the reasons cited by the RCMP for maintaining the redactions is the possibility that the investigation could turn criminal and that the release of such information could compromise an investigation, right? One of the reasons cited by the RCMP for maintaining the redactions is the possibility that the investigation could turn criminal, right? Mm. Everybody hearing that? These are just important facts that I want to point out that the RCMP are saying. They are saying that themselves. It could turn criminal. Um, Stuff like that also though makes me think, what are they missing here that they need? What is it that they need that they don't have to help them make that decision? And that's why I want it to find, or maybe it's in this further down. There was the article where the guy says the pussyfoot, and I chuckled at that. That's like that's a saying around here. I say it quite a bit. Enough of your pussyfooting. Um, and that's exactly where my head goes, right, to the pussyfooting thing. Like, what is causing them to have to pussyfoot around, go either way, right? Um, when an investigation is going on, it is difficult to know what information, if made public, would compromise future investigative steps. And I can imagine that would be so. It really would be. Imagine. And that's why, in the end, our CMP take the stance of not putting anything out. They are in this case. They are in this case. And I want to bring that up again. Um, we've never seen this where our CMP has come out so many times to speak to the public and where this information has come out in a case that the RCMP that's under the RCMP. This is very rare. So we'll give them credit there. Definitely give them kudos there. And for all the interviews that they're doing. Um, it's not something you typically see. So, um, while at this stage we do not have reasonable grounds to believe a crime has been committed. Now, the linguistics of how something's being stated, right? Remember that. Uh, while at this stage, we do not, at this stage, we do not have reasonable grounds. Now, see how they're making it a bit clear? Because, there's been a lot of debate in what they have stated. Um, they're adding on to this while at this stage, where before it was just we do not have reasonable grounds to believe a crime has occurred and committed. Now they're actually saying at this stage, at this time, um, that assessment could change as we move forward with our investigation, wrote RCMP Corporal Charlene Curl in a January 8th affidavit. So it seems like they're kind of making things a little bit more clear in that sense. Corporal Curl said in the document, the RCMP continues to explore all avenues and are leveraging technology-based investigative police techniques, which may provide information to support criminality and uncover the whereabouts of missing children. Of the missing children, sorry. Um, yeah, so criminally based investigative police techniques. Wow. Technology-based investigative police techniques. I wonder what that is. Which may provide information to support criminality. See, that statement tells me they believe it's criminal and they're trying to figure out a way uh, to support that, right? Because why would you be doing that? Why would you be leveraging technology-based investigative techniques, right? To try to provide information to support criminality if you don't think that there is criminal criminality there, and and uncover the whereabouts of the missing children. And they keep talking about that about and the whereabouts of the children, locating them, and that $150,000 reward that went out stated that the purpose of that reward was because they believe that there are those with information that will lead them to the children, the whereabouts of the children. So that's why I keep saying, I know, in Canada, you do not need a body or bodies to charge somebody with homicide, okay? I found 2 cases here in Nova Scotia, um, recent cases with just the last few years. So Justin McDonald, and there was 3 people that were charged in his murder. Their trial will be in February of 2027. And Esther, oh dear, what's Esther's last name? I know somebody in the chat probably knows it, is familiar with it. Well, the man charged with her red rum, he was extradited from Texas, US, uh, I think it was just this summer. I mean, it was just recently, but I think it was in the summer. I can't remember if it was prior to the summer. I feel like it was through the summer months. He was brought back to Canada where he is thought to have red-rummed her, and they have not found her yet. Now, Justin did end up being found, but it was after those 3 men were charged. And then his father found him, it May just past May, like a few months ago. And then, um yeah, so they did end up finding him, but they were charged before they found him, and that was 3 people in that case. And then with Esther, she was a school teacher, and she was red-rummed outside of her after attending Bible study. It was sad. And that was in the valley. And then, um, they have not located her yet. So, I mean, people can be charged, uh and the statement was made with in the Justin McDonald, case that they were comfortable with those charges of 3 individuals, um, because they felt that even without the body, that the evidence was going to prove that they were guilty. So they were quite comfortable in doing it, and, I would assume the same with, in the case of Esther as well. And I mean, to go through the trouble to even extradite somebody back from Texas, um, in the United States back to Canada, right? They're that sure of a conviction, so we'll see. He is going to court next, well, no, it's 2026 now. Yeah, he'll be going to court November 2026. So his trial's coming up soon, that individual. Yeah. So it does happen. I want to make sure I don't reread here. The newly released information shows that investigators were focused on learning about. Okay, the newly released information shows that the investigators were focused on learning about the home life of Jack and Lily in the early stages of their disappearance. The Globe previously reported on their family situation, including alleged coercive control that affected their mother. So there you go with that coercive control that we've discussed here. AB's talked about it, Shan's talked about it, Daphne's talked about it, Justin's talked about it. I'm sure we all talked about it, because it was very evident to all of us who've covered cases and have different experiences, of certain situations. So, coercive control that affected their mother, the parents' financial struggles, as well as admitted rug use by their stepfather. So, there's 3 statistics right there in one sentence, right? The coercive control, the financial struggles, rugs, right? Multiple black eyes of the children. There's 4. And a visit from a provincial child protection. There's 5. There's 5 things. I'm sure Daphne has those on her checklist that she did for statistics. So there's 5 check marks right there. Ms. Brooks Murray did not respond to a request for comment. Previously, she has denied involvement in the children's disappearance. And that will all remain to be seen. Other information in the documents that is still sealed relates to the wording of questions asked by Jack and Lily's parents and others during polygraph tests. Okay, so this is another thing that struck me. Corporal Curl said she anticipates more people will be asked to do polygraph tests. And if the exact wording is released, and she's talking about the exact wording of it's funny, the stuff that they talk about is the stuff that we hit on in our lives because we've been wondering and wondering and wondering. Well, what are those questions? Daniel says he was asked 5 questions and he doesn't understand why they keep saying 4 questions because I was asked 5 questions. They say he was truthful to 4 questions. Well, maybe he wasn't truthful to the 5th one. Um, so that had me curious. So, anyway, so she says exact wording, more people will be asked to do polygraph tests, and if the exact wording is released, it could seriously risk the integrity of the results of any further tests. Yes, definitely, definitely. That would definitely do that. So, we have to be patient for now. Um, but I'd really like to know if that says 4 questions for Daniel or 5, because he says he was asked 5, and he even chuckled at it. He's like, "I don't know why they keep saying 4 questions. I was asked 5 questions. They keep saying 4." You watch it on DT if you can, that's where it is, where he states that, and I'm telling you, he said it. Corporal Curl oh, sorry, RCMP as Ms. Brooks also, RCMP and Ms. Brooks Murray also posed releasing highly personal information that pertains to Ms. Brooks Murray and Mr. Martell's relationship, parenting, and financial situation. Corporal Curl wrote that despite intense media coverage and social media speculation, the highly personal information, to the best of her knowledge, hasn't been made public or confirmed by either Ms. Brooks Murray or Martell. Hmm. We want people who may be witnesses to feel comfortable coming forward and sharing information with us to assist of investigations without fear that everything they say may become public, she wrote. And that would be they're talking about Corporal Curl there. Ms. Brooks Murray posed releasing her personal information because it's highly personal, biographical core information that reveals intimate details about her as a person, wrote her lawyers Jennifer Cox and Samantha Allen in submissions dated January 9th. Ms. Brooks Murray, whose father is Mi'kmaq, is a member of Speaknatic Speaknatic First Nation. Her lawyers asked the court to consider harm to her dignity through an Indigenous lens, noting that anti Indigenous stereotypes are persuasive and harmful. Mhm. And she is 50% Indigenous folks. So, yeah. Releasing information about Ms. Brooks Murray causes a greater affront to her dignity as it may breathe life into these stereotypes. And I agree. I agree with all of that. I do. I really do. And that's why I was saying in the beginning, I feel like, when I compare things that are said about this situation and of she should have this, she should have that, well, why didn't she do this? Why didn't she do that? Compare it to, how in the Decker situation, that mom, you're not seeing that stereotype in the Decker case as you're seeing here. Um, so we have to be careful. We really do have to be careful. Um, yeah. Mr. Martell did not take a position in court about the release of the information. All right, guys. And that is that. How's everyone doing there? Y'all, everybody doing good? I hope, I hope, I hope. Back and see how you guys are doing here. Dragonfly love. Esther Jones, thank you, Carrie, darling. I knew somebody would know in the chat. Yeah, God bless her. A teacher, church going lady, was at her Bible class, evening Bible class. Hmm, you know, sad. And, and he'll probably never, ever, ever say where she is. So sad. She's out there somewhere. It just breaks my heart. Mm. Justin's dad searched every single day. Yep, for almost a year. And then he found his boy. Rest in peace. Yeah, very sad. It was he himself. He was out with people who would come with him and help search, just a small handful of them. I think it was him and somebody else that day, maybe three people. No more than three, but it was actually him who came up upon him and saw I believe was it the sneaker or was it the bracelet that first caught his eye? I don't know if it was a sneaker and then that caught his eye and then he saw the bracelet. But once he saw it was, I guess, probably like a friendship bracelet type that his son had on his uh wrist. And he knew it was his son then. Sad. Yeah. Yeah. But in both of those cases, there were um charges laid without the bodies, right? Yeah. I mean, it can happen. It can happen. It just makes me feel like not to say, that it can happen and that there couldn't ever be a possible conviction, but not in this case because we don't know if that's the case yet, but in other cases like the two we're just talking about, well, Justin, they found him now, but in Esther's, I'll be watching Esther's, and that's coming up this year, so in November. But with Lily and Jack, I can't remember who I saw somebody say one day in a chat, not my chat, but another chat I was in, that I don't think this is one of those cases, and I think they are struggling with it. Not to say that, if something nefarious did take place, that they won't figure out a way, because it certainly sounds like they're trying by what I just, pointed out in that article there, that they're they're definitely trying and, to figure out a way to show that there could be a criminal element here, it seems like that to me. And that they really need to find Lily and Jack. Okay, so that brings me to one thing, and it reminded me of it when I had read that part of the article there. Uh, I said I do have some news I want to share with you guys today. So, um, I do have to keep it under wraps. I can't say too much, but I just want to say that I found out some very good news about uh, the search with Please Bring Me Home and some stuff going on there behind the scenes. Uh, And that's about all I can say. Not that anybody found anything or a big piece of evidence or anything like that, so don't go there. But uh, I'm very, very, very much anticipating the search coming up in the springtime, and any possible searches prior to, with warm weather, that they can go out there and whatever. But so far, the way our weather's looking like, I'll say spring. But once they're out there and being able to go hard at it again, I'm very, very, very much anticipating it because of this news that I found out. Very good news. Okay. So I just want to reassure all of you. Um, and after the spring and after those searches are done, if Lily and Jack are not located, especially with what I do know now, um, the great news that I found out of the upcoming searches, there's no way that they're there in that area, in my mind, and I could be wrong. And we'll wait to see what Nick says, I guess, at the end of that search as well. But they're either way out of that area, further out, or water. But I mean, I don't think they just, willy-nilly wandered off on their own and got stuck down a path, not, you know what I mean, and not too far into the woods, where they can be located with very thorough searching and with what is going to be done in this search coming up. So, um, yeah. Anyways, but we'll see what happens in the spring. Yes, please hit that like button. Thank you, Daphne. Uh, just want to make sure if there's any questions anybody has there, I'm not missing them. Uh, 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 uh. Oh, really? I'm gonna take a picture of that. I'll look it up later. It's interesting because it seems to me like, we talk a lot about how bodies are not found in Nova Scotia. Why do these people go missing or red rum bodies never found, right? And it seems now that, you know, the law enforcement here in Nova Scotia, they're not messing around anymore. So you can hide that body if you want to. They're going to figure out a way to charge you if they feel you did something, whether that body's found or not. So things are changing, right? It's not like it used to be where these crimes were just going unsolved, going unsolved, going unsolved. Nothing ever done. And and it brings me back to Kevin Martin, who, there possibly could have been charges laid in his case, uh, way long before. I mean, there still isn't charges, but then he was found and he was red rum, right? But I feel like if that was today, there would possibly have been charges made prior to him even being found. Uh, yeah, with the technology today and like it just seems they're not messing around. So this, you can get red rummed in Nova Scotia and get away with it, and the body will never be recovered, and it'll be hidden way out on a private property somewhere with generations of family living there, and miles and miles and miles of woodland, and yeah, it looks like those days are over. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Your checklist. Yeah, yeah, yep. I bet everything's on it. Everything that I read in that one sentence, not even a paragraph, it was a sentence. Everything was in that one sentence. Yeah, and could be cooperating. And I honestly do believe she is. I do. I really do. I don't give a shit about if she's drinking or acting this way or acting that way. How the hell is somebody supposed to act? And if you already, prior to any of this, you are an individual who already struggles, maybe. I don't know. I don't know anything about her, and it's none of my business. I don't care. But I'm talking in general, if an individual struggles already with, some alcohol overusage or abuse or whatever, uh, this is certainly a time that you're gonna see that kick into gear for sure, right? Um, but yeah, like, as far as that, she was seen out at a bar or this or that. I don't give a shit about that. Again, I have to I just can't take uh, something that's just stated to me as 100% fact and then develop some type of terrible opinion of somebody with that. Like, um, yeah. But anyways, we don't know. We just don't know. I don't know either way. I have no idea. I know can be either or. I could expect that it could be either or. Um, but I just don't I don't know. We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. Wow. I thought the ones being charged in 2024 and their trial not being until 2027. But yeah, I suppose I could see why. Yes, I could see why, yeah, because they're still trying to gather evidence and whatnot, but they're making that point known that the charges are laid, yeah. Um, I didn't realize it could take that long for the process. That kinda shocked me. That's why I thought the ones in Cape Breton had already gone through court and were found guilty through their trial, because I guess I'm used to the Amber Kerwin case here. Like, he was charged, trial was done, guilty, on back to prison where he should have never been let out, but, I guess it's not like that everywhere in Nova Scotia. Yeah, question 1, are you Daniel Martel? Yes, yeah, no further questions needed, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that was the question I had for you guys. Thank you, Daphne. He said everyone passed. Like, how would Dan he wouldn't know, just like he's working with the RCMP every day again now since October. Uh, Darlene, hi. Cool J. Um, that was the other question. If they are doing more, she didn't say they are doing more. She said if they were to do more. That's what I got out of that article. Maybe I'm wrong. If they were to do more um polygraphs, then it wouldn't be good to be putting those questions out like we keep saying, when we looked at those documents or we're discussing stuff in our lives. Well, what are those questions? What are they? What are they, right? Um, well, she's saying, well, to unredact something like that and put it out to the public, that wouldn't be too wise, because if they decide it next week, they're going to call Janie back in, let's say, Janie, we're going to try to do that polygraph on you again because we actually don't think there is anything wrong with your heart. We think you're full of shit. So come on in and we'll, do that polygraph. Um, Yeah, that it wouldn't be good to be unredacting that information and putting that out there in case they were to do that, which obviously makes perfectly good sense, right? In my opinion, they asked him very specific questions in such a way that they knew he would be able to answer truthfully. Cool J. Yes, indeedy. Yes. I've talked about that here before. Exactly. Right? Well, my joke was, well, yeah, though. What were the questions? Daniel, what color are your eyes? Um, how old were Lily and Jack? You know, not how old were they, but was was Lily 6 and Jack was 4? Yes. Okay, pass. Yes. Absolutely, right? And we don't know, right? He's asking for the polygraph. So do you want to make it do everything on your end to try to help him pass that polygraph so you can go, "Oh, geez, Daniel, you passed with flying colors," right? Exactly. Right on. Oh, you can be late. I'm not gonna send the police after you like Justin. Bill C 332 to criminalize coercive control of an intimate partner passes third reading, yeah, in the House of Commons in 2024, but has not yet received Senate approval or royal assent. Yeah, yeah. And who is it that's working on that? Oh my God, what's his name? What's his name? What's his name? I just read it not too long ago. Of course, it's not. Is it Sean Fraser? I think it might be. I can't remember. I know somebody in the chat will remember. My memory is I used to retain all that stuff. You guys think I'm intelligent right now? Well, you should have saw me before. No, I'm just teasing. I was so super intelligent before, I tell you. Just want to make sure I didn't miss any questions here or comments that would be good to put up. Yeah, they act so sweet. Yep. To everyone else, like charming, then behind closed doors, they are monsters. 100%. Everybody loves them. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. How many times have you heard this of the domestic violence in the domestic violence situation and in the sexual abuse situations, right? How they were just the pillar of community. Everybody loved them. I never would have thought that. Just greatest guy or woman, right? Statistically men. Oh, thank you, Shan. Thank you. Um, I don't do a thing to it. I even cut it myself. I just flip it upside down and go. Um, yeah. At Nova, you are very right. There are all different risks. MBM was surrounded and monitored every moment. And that's the other thing. Don't forget, she was surrounded by that whole family. And there are situations where, it's the whole family that, the cycle is in the whole family, or the family don't believe that their son or daughter would be that way, and they're just blind to it, right? They just like anyone else that abuser meets. Um, yeah, but in this case, with the situation of the DV and how the kids are being treated, I to me, it doesn't seem like it was just there's a whole family, cycle going on there, right, with the whole family, obviously, very obvious. Um, those poor kids, Lily and Jack. Yeah, Jack and Lily must have suffered as injuries were visible, usually hidden. Yeah, so sad, eh, what those poor kids. Yeah. Just even the verbal, like, I mean, you guys know when you listen to Janie, uh, I mean, her and Daniel both, I find them both very hard to listen to, but man, mm, yeah, if it's only going to be neglect charges, I'm gonna be so mad. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Wolfie. I try to stay calm and just try to yeah. I feel frustrated though sometimes with these cases though, like also, I just have to say something. Some think the blanket was left behind from Lily or Jack. Like it's impossible for them to have crawled in a trash bin and grabbed that blanket, in my opinion. Absolutely. And it's now said that that blanket was on the back doorstep, apparently. But either way, I don't believe that. That Lily and Jack took that blanket, and then you have to try to figure out, well, how did they get it up in the tree, right? Um, I don't know. I'm doubtful. Um, and what is on that blanket? What did they find? Why do they want Daniel's blood? You know? Or what was found on something else? Don't forget about what Belinda found wrapped up there, right? Was there something on that bath mat that actually didn't belong to Brad? The sweater belonged to Brad, but the bath mat didn't. So, no, thanks. Nova and Justin both calm you, yes, yeah. I wish my mic sounded like hers as well. I have to when I switched computers over, I didn't download the stuff I need to get the proper sound on this again on my laptop, and, I have to do that because I notice my voice sounds a little muffly because I didn't get to you have to play around with it and adjust it perfect to your voice because everybody's voice is different, and I have a very low voice, like, people who are hard of hearing and stuff really find it hard to hear my voice, they just don't pick up my tone and my tones, and, so imagine working in palliative and geriatric, that issue, and then when you try to talk loud, it sounds like you're yelling or screaming at somebody, and you're not, you're just trying to get them to hear you. But, yeah, so I have to put that software on my computer, my new computer, to do that again and tweak it, but, yeah, yeah. Yeah, when you get your new laptop, Daphne, make sure my son told me what to get because he games, right? Or used to. Mine has the AMD Radeon and Ryzen 7000 series, and then you wanna make sure to have the extra memory and stuff like that. It was a little more expensive, but, um, it's worth it because I don't have any issues. Uh, yeah. Especially, like, if you're gonna continue to do this, you may as well have the right stuff, right? The right stuff. And I don't know if you know this, but on Amazon, you can just, You can just, like, my husband paid for this, it's paid, but, um, before he paid for it, I ordered it, um, and you can do, like, a thing on Amazon where you just can make payments and, like, it's not through credit or anything like that, so I did that with this until he, like, you know, it was, like, the next month, then he gave me the money to pay for it for Christmas, but, Magdalena, hello. I love that name, Magdalena. All private properties in the area should be searched. I hope they, law enforcement, can get a warrant or consent from owners, as law enforcement cannot just simply give searchers permission. That's right. Yeah. No, the homeowners have to give permission. Yeah. But I don't think the searchers are gonna do that anyways, the, like, "Please bring me home." That would have to be left to law enforcement, and with a warrant if they ever felt there was a need for particular properties to be searched, in my opinion. And you'd want that done the right way and under, with the police doing that and with proper warrant or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that'd be something "Please Bring Me Home" would even think to do anyways. Yeah, but they're gonna focus on the pathways. So, if you didn't watch Nick on Charmaine's, true crime story pod, um, Charmaine, check that out because he's on there, he talks, and all the information you could wanna know of where they're gonna search in the spring, he is going to explain. He will explain in that video. He does explain. Yeah, that blanket could hold key, for sure. Have to think like a criminal, narcissist, personality disorder, math head. So where would they put the children? Yeah, Carrie, exactly right. And, they say good police officers make police officers who are also, because they say there's good just because somebody is narcissistic or even a psychopath or doesn't mean that they're, or have those traits, right? Doesn't mean that they're really bad people or out there hurting people or they're a serial red rummer or red rummer at all or abusive. Um, but they have that type of mindset that they actually make very good police officers. It's those who, they say it's what you choose to do with it, right? So you can choose to have that way of thinking and go into law enforcement and use that to because you have an understanding of how these creeps think, right? Maybe all of us who are into the true crime and do this stuff, maybe that's why we can connect to how these folks think and pick up on somebody like Daniel quicker than others because it kinda shocks me. Like, when I'm on my live going, "Oh, I think there's some DV going on here, folks, and there's some narcissistic traits," and then other people are thinking I'm wacko for saying that. I'm like, "How can you not see it?" So, maybe myself, Daphne, sure, uh, Shan, Sunny, Justin, Melissa, maybe we all have those traits, right? But we use it for good. But no, that is true with police officers. They say they make really good police officers because they can get inside the head of those people, right? But they're using their way of thinking for good purposes. I actually had a police officer tell me that who worked he worked on those cases here in Nova Scotia, and that was way back in the day when we had any type of cases like that here in Nova Scotia, but he was sent away, like, for training, not in Nova Scotia, to the States and Quebec and then Toronto and places like that for his training and then come back to Nova Scotia, and he was the one who would be called upon in certain cases, and he explained that to me. Yeah, so oh, what are we talking about? What's true? About C something about CPS there. Oh, CPS lost Jack and Lily's file. For real? Mm, I don't know. Let's wait and see when they come up with more information on that because he said that unless somebody from the family is saying different because they know different, but he did say that Seriously, you guys couldn't hear me that whole time? Oh my god. Damn, I had a lot of good stuff to say too. I wonder how long that went on. Oh my god. And I gotta look back now. What? Nova exploded into another dimension. That is funny. Jesus, you guys, I answered all your stuff up above. That and then I just said, "Well, guys, we're at 2.5 hours and everybody's dropping off. It looks like probably because it's supper time." Well, no, because you just can't hear me. Ah, that is too funny. Uh, well, I did say, "Hello, Chelsea Gray. Lots of love. So happy to have you here." You guys could see me putting the comments up, but I just wasn't saying anything behind it. And that's too funny. Uh, there was something Daphne said there though, and I wanted to what to oh yeah, she was saying too about that it could be she's thinking too that like, we can't no I was saying we can't forget about the mat. I don't know if you guys heard me say that part. That was way back. We can't forget about the mat, right? Because it's not just the blanket, right? That mat and that sweater, right? Damn, I don't know how long that went on for, that you guys couldn't hear me. Damn it. I was saying a lot of good stuff too. That is just too friggin' funny. I know it happened. Yeah. Oh, I commented back to something Wolfie said. I commented back to Daphne, to Shan. Oh my goodness. For about 5 minutes. Damn. Well, doesn't that suck? Oh well. It's kind of funny. All you can do is laugh. Yeah, a long time. Sure you were, yeah. Um, and it happens to all of it. I've seen it happen to Daphne, Shan, Dustin, Sunny one time, and it went on and on and on. And I think Charmaine finally got a hold of her. Yeah, it sucks when that happens. I I forgot when you take yourself off stage, I meant to hit this button and then you can still hear me, see? You still hear me. And I hit the wrong button. I accidentally hit the other button. Anyways, after that display of dumbness, I will say goodbye. I think we pretty much can agree on everything anyways. I saw what your comments were saying, and it was just basically, you guys were just saying, "Yeah, that makes sense," and about certain things. And, yeah, I know. It always happens. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, but for sure, remember, yeah, and stuff like that with Sunny. Sunny needs to make merch. A mug, a hat, a t-shirt, definitely a mug. I'd buy a mug if it with and stuff like that on it. Um, yeah, because I don't know if you guys could still hear me, but I was saying about, we have to remember that it's not just the blanket, right? Um, the stuff that Belinda had found that was wrapped up there, and it had, um, the bath mat in it, right? So maybe that bath mat has had some blood on it or specks even on that shirt, right? And, yeah, so don't know. And then Daphne had a comment there that had stated that she thinks she's wondering that as well, right? That it's not just that, did you guys hear what I said about "Please Bring Me Home," though? About the good, like, did I said I wanna share a little bit of good news that I'm hearing good stuff about the search coming up in the spring. Did you hear that part? At least tell me you heard that. If you didn't hear that, I'll be upset. I will repeat it. Okay, good. Awesome. Charlie, well, Chelsea heard, so Charlie, you're on your own. Anyways, I just said I'm hearing good things about what's coming up search-wise in the spring, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't. And I just, you know, uh, to me, it's just it's very productive of things going on behind the scenes. So, yeah. And anybody else who's gonna volunteer for the spring, uh, you should contact Please Bring Me Home soon to get your information in there to them, because you have to fill out a little form. It's just stuff like, next to kin, not next to kin, but someone to call in case you fall, sprain your ankle or whatever, right? Which, hopefully you won't, but anything could happen, right? Uh, yeah. Repeat it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Have a look and see what everyone did while you were away. Yeah. I did look back and you were all behaving, so I'm very proud of you all. Yeah. I was gonna say May 1st, 2025, bring Lily and Jack home into the motherboard of the flying DeLorean. Yes. Yeah, bring them home, bring them home. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Yeah. All right, guys. Lots of love, lots of positive vibes. Um, I I saw you doing that, Ginger. And Ginger, I'm very sorry to hear about the electrical fire. So sorry to hear that and about that, but I'm very glad you guys caught it so quickly. I realized after I sent you the email back, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even say to her, sorry to hear about that." But I'm glad you guys caught it quickly and it was just small damages. That's awesome. But, yeah. Okay, guys, lots of love, lots of positive vibes. Grandbaby's coming tomorrow, for a visit, so I'll be on sometime next week. And I think if Shan, I'm gonna touch base with her, but I think when I come back next week, it'll be with Shan, and we're gonna touch on, the Kevin Martin case, if, Shan's okay with that, and there's a good day for her to do that. So, yeah, so that's what I'll be working on from here till the next time you see me. Uh, Lots of love, lots of positive vibes. You guys take care. I'm gonna do the outro with the, missing and unsolved homicides. I added 2 more to them. I don't know if you guys noticed in the beginning, but I did add 2 more to those. Um, yeah. So, bye, guys. I will see you next week.